Southeast Engine is one example of a local band trying to make it in the world of music. They admit they fit the term struggling artist and don't yet make enough money to quit their day jobs.
There are literally hundreds of dollars to be made every year in independent rock music, and we've been seeing it. $200. I'm serious.
You feel like you have loyalties to your job that pays your bills, and but you also have a loyalty to your band and wanting to see your band succeed. So there's definitely a balancing act there.
It's a million times better than washing dishes or doing construction or something like that, but it's still work.
We'll work day jobs when we're at home too, but when you go on tour, it's not like a vacation necessarily. It's not like, oh, I'm going to get some time off my job and go on tour.
Southeast Engine just completed a 20-city tour. They traditionally end in their hometown of Dayton and begin in Athens because this is where they got their start.
It feels like things are steadily growing though. Like this most recent tour we had was definitely a step beyond the one we did before that, which was larger than the one that came before that one.
That translates into increased CD sales, and they've definitely noticed that boost during their tour. Both new and established artists face the same challenges.
It's less the economy and more people stealing music. When not enough people are supporting the arts, then the artists are working in coffee shops, which is what happens a lot.
But there are ways to make money. They recently recorded a demo for St. Ives Soap. If picked, they could land a deal worth upwards of $5,000.
Licensing is good. I mean, if you can get your music placed and stuff, that translates into being able to make some good money doing it.
From the small-town band to the big-name act, Southeast Ohio is home to many local artists. One group once knew what it was like to be the struggling artist, but now is known worldwide. Jefferson Airplane gained popularity in the late 1960s, but today one of its founding members quietly lives on a ranch in Southeast Ohio. Jorma Kalkinen and his wife Vanessa now spend their time fostering aspiring musicians.
And his friend said, Jorma, I've got some land for sale. I'm like, hang the phone up. We're not going to Southeast Ohio. We're sitting around and we said, well, we own a bunch of land in Ohio. I guess we'll grow guitar players.
And so Furpees Ranch was born in 1989. Since then, they've been attracting groups from all over the world.
We have a reputation now. I mean, people literally are coming from all over the world.
For some people, it's become like a pilgrimage kind of thing that they're going to Jorma's place out there in the country. Most of the artists feel the same way when they come here because it's not a pressure place that they will hang out and talk to the fans and take pictures and stuff.
Furpees Ranch is also stimulating the surrounding economy of Pomeroy. Vanessa even convinced her husband to build a performance space.
I had to work on him, and you know what? It was the right decision to go intimate. Everything that we are here, the camps and the theater, there really is no place like this.
There's people that come in that want a place to eat. We send so many people into the local areas for dinners and for overnight stays and stuff.
Still, Furpees Ranch tries to provide a unique service in the Hocking Hills, but it might not be easy on the struggling artist's wallet. Workshops cost between $1,200 and $1,500 a weekend.
Live music is a luxury business. It's not a necessity. We're in an economy that doesn't promote non-necessity. People don't need us, they want us. The value of our dollar has gone down, but people still believe that if you can't enjoy the fruits of your labor, why are we working so hard?
We do have a lot of people that will travel because it's kind of become like a cool weekend plan, a drive to the country. A lot of our people stay overnight in the area.
Thank you.
When you think of music in Appalachia, you might imagine bluegrass or folk music, but a group in Gallipolis is breaking that stereotype. A symphony orchestra plays just near the banks of the Ohio River. Laura Snow is the founder and executive director of the Ohio Valley Symphony Orchestra. But before she could start an orchestra, Laura needed a theater.
The REL is an 1895 opera house built by the REL Oddfellows Lodge. It was designed by the state architects Packard and Yost. It was the primary town center at the time, as opera houses were meant to be. And it served as an entertainment center as well as a lodge room for many, many years.
The theater closed in 1963. It remained empty for 25 years until Laura found it in 1987. Conductor Ray Fowler first began working with Laura at Ohio University.
She invited me to come over one day to see this hall. For me, it's never about seeing the hall. It's about what does it sound like. I sang a couple of notes and the resonance just blew me away. I was astonished.
But they had work to do before they could put on a concert. There were holes in the roof and pigeon remains on the floor. On April 1st, 1989, they gave their first show to a full house, standing room only, literally.
There were no seats in the hall. It was, we could smell gas because we had to bring in heaters. It was amazing. We had one rehearsal with an orchestra I'd never worked with before, and the townspeople were so excited about it that they got behind it.
We pull musicians from 6 states, and they play in a number of other professional orchestras like Columbus, Cincinnati, Roanoke, Charleston, the West Virginia Symphony, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, a variety of places like that. So they're coming in from all over. We even have one musician that comes from Canada. It wouldn't have been surprising if we did see a downturn of support, but guess what? We didn't. People stayed steady with their support of the orchestra and of the REL. And that was an amazing, wonderful confirmation of the importance of the work that we're doing here, touching people with music.
In a down economy, we hear too often about small businesses calling it quits. But one shop here in Nelsonville is actually experiencing an increase in business. Nick Calera owns the NC Sound Shop in Nelsonville. He's a humble man, simple and modest. Nick's been open 30 years, the last 20 of which have been full-time. But things weren't easy for him starting out.
I quit school in 11th grade. High school wasn't happening for me, and I hung around a bunch of old long-haired guys that were doing this, and I had a job, and that was my school of hard knocks. I just hung around those kind of guys, and before you knew it, I had a family, raised 4 kids through this shop. I am mighty proud of that.
He's even been able to hire a few employees. Nick attributes his shop's success to his unique business model. He sells used equipment, makes repairs, gives lessons, and runs a recording studio.
I take the recordings and the lessons and the retail myself, as well as the repairs, but boy, sometimes you got to whistle in the troops. And I got a great, great crew that helps me out with that, for sure.
I just fixed up an old garage, so I don't have a whole lot of overhead. I don't have a fancy site at a strip mall or some kind of a fancy doodad lights and all that kind of stuff. I've tried to keep it humble and live within my means.
Not one to advertise, Nick takes advantage of his geographic location on Route 33.
We're in the middle between Nelsonville and Logan, 2 small towns, and then Athens and Lancaster, 2 bigger towns, and then you've got Parkersburg, Columbus. And as you can see, we're blessed to have a lot of work. Why? Talking that economic thing. People don't want to spend $300 and $400 on a new guitar. Let me get my old guitar and put 50 bucks into it, and I'm ready to go. So that helps the hip pocket. And we keep a lot of different looks and a lot of different colors. You know, there's an old Ampeg. There's an old 78 Rickenbacker, 1963 Martin. You know, we're talking this old vintage gear. And so what that did is it kept me on the map.
At the end of the day, Nick doesn't consider what he does to be work, but it still pays his bills and puts food on the table.
We're honored and very humbled to have been able to make a living like this, because I've never worked a day in my life, you know, because I get up in the morning and I love what I do.